This really hasn't been your average month of September. If we expand the view, take a look at the Atlantic Basin. We made it all the way through Labor Day as well as into the heart of hurricane season now without a named storm. The only game in town is this tropical wave out here in the middle of the Atlantic. The National Hurricane Center does in fact have an 80% chance of this developing over the coming days. We also have a non-tropical feature off the coast of the Carolinas. This won't become a named storm, but it will produce very heavy rain, especially for those areas in North Carolina and Virginia over the coming days. And there is the 80% chance of development of the next named storm. We only have had 6 named storms so far this season. This will likely be the 7th, taking the name of Gabrielle. But you can see the trend on this. It's already moving on that west, more northwest trajectory. And most ensemble members of the latest European guidance has this continue to travel west northwest bound, but will quickly turn north and then eventually northeast, well out into the open waters of the Atlantic and not really affect anybody. But yesterday, wow, we had a regional tornado outbreak into the Dakotas. In fact, it was the most tornadoes they saw in the month of September. There were 22 preliminary tornado reports just yesterday, and most of them were in North Dakota. Some were in the northern portions of South Dakota, and even a couple were some of those big tornadoes, a PDS warning at times for those systems. So it still continues to remain active across the Dakotas, and it's been a very active year. I mean, so far we're up to 1,477 confirmed tornadoes. I talked about it back in March. I said, well, this could in fact end up somewhere in the neighborhood of 2,000 tornadoes. We're kind of well on our way. We still have 3.5 months left of the year. In fact, we're going into second season right now in the month of fall. So it can become a little bit more active as we trend into the fall months. As we flip the calendar, will be next week as official fall begins. But the setup for today kind of looks like this. We've got a vorticity that's highlighted across the Carolinas. That is that area of little low pressure, non-tropical low that will just be kind of spinning and spinning off the coast of the Carolinas, dumping some heavier rain. There's the active system yesterday, finally going to be moving out later on this afternoon from the Dakotas. We also have another little feature back behind it across Idaho, back into portions of Montana. And then the Pacific has been really active, and we've seen numerous storms. They're already up to that R name in the Pacific, and that's actually helping to spread tropical moisture into the desert Southwest. Without these systems, they really wouldn't be getting anything right now. So they're getting some beneficial rains at times, spreading into Arizona and into California even over the coming week ahead. So if we take a look at Monday night, there is that little non-tropical low that's just kind of spinning out there, right? I mean, if this was a it's got, I think it drops enough to have qualify, but it's just a non-tropical system, so they're not going to get named off this. But it doesn't matter. It's just really going to just sit there and spin over the next couple of days and really produce some pretty impressive rainfalls. I mean, some isolated areas could pick up some flooding rains across this region over the next couple of days. Even the blend of models between now and Wednesday has a widespread 1 to 3 inches from Jacksonville to Greenville up to Virginia Beach, would include even portions of Richmond. And then, yes, you're obviously going to get some isolated reports of 4 to 6 inches, maybe even more than this, because it's not really going to go anywhere. It's just very low steering currents. It's just going to continue to sit and spin, and it will likely possibly trend a little bit further north going into Wednesday and Thursday of the week ahead. But it's going to be a warm week. This is the last official week of summer, and we've got 90s heading into tomorrow, spreading all the way to the deep south and much of the southern plains and the southeast, but even extended into Missouri, Kansas, Nebraska, Iowa, Illinois. Yeah, that's even a 90 up there in Minnesota. So yeah, I don't need to tell you. this is not your typical average, September like week ahead. It's going to be plenty warm across the nation and above average temperatures. We are going to be seeing a little weak cool front during the middle of the week that's going to be highlighted across areas of Wyoming back into Colorado. They actually saw some of their first snows of the season on some of those mountain peaks over the weekend, and that will bring down some of the cooler air aloft down to the surface into Kansas, spreading into those areas into Oklahoma on Wednesday afternoon as we get deeper into the day, and they're likely going to bring some rain showers and thunderstorms along its wake. In fact, over the 24-hour period on Wednesday morning through Thursday morning, looks like this as far as the precipitation totals go. Likely 1 to 2 inches widespread. Nebraska, Kansas, portions of the Texas Panhandle back into Oklahoma. That is complements of that cool boundary that will be dropping southbound, likely stall somewhere in the vicinity of the Red River. And there it is. There's that little feature. Even by Thursday morning is going to be swinging up into Delaware, back into New Jersey. So this is likely not going away. It's not going to go too far inland, but it will be spreading some heavier rains, especially the further off into the coast you live. And there are these little tropical features from the Pacific spreading some beneficial moisture as we head into Thursday into the desert Southwest and back into California. But Thursday afternoon, there is the cool front that will likely stall. So by default, with the showers and the cloudy conditions will keep those areas across California on the little bit cooler side, as we'll get some of that beneficial moisture swinging into your area. There's the cold front that will likely stall into the plains and won't reach it into the deep south going into that Thursday, but it will leave a little disturbance kind of with the northwest flow. So if you live in North Texas, you're likely going to go seeing some isolated showers and some thunderstorms into Thursday as well as into Friday afternoon. But as we swing into the Atlantic again, there is likely Gabrielle with the latest European guidance likely going to be a named storm. This won't be until Saturday, so this little feature is not going away anytime soon. It was likely become and take the name Gabrielle to take for our 7th storm of the season. But like I mentioned, most all indications and even the latest European guidance has this really ramping up into likely another hurricane, even potentially even a major hurricane, as it likely east of Bermuda, well out into the open water. So nonetheless, this will be a named storm, likely even a hurricane, but it won't have any impact to land whatsoever. But it will be a warm end of the week for summer and a warm weekend ahead. I mean, plenty of the nation is going to be above average for what you would typically see this time of year. This is on Sunday, the 21st of September. Definitely plenty warmer air to contend with. Some cooler pockets aloft will likely spread some afternoon showers and thunderstorms back into Oklahoma region, into North Texas, those areas, portions of Arkansas. But the breakdown over the next 7 days kind of looks like this. Complements of that Pacific flow, the moisture coming from those Pacific systems over the next 7 days will spread some isolated showers and some thunderstorms and some beneficial rain. I mean, look at some of that rain spreading into California over the next 7 days. It likely continues to remain dry, at least for right now, for the Pacific Northwest. And most of the action is across the Dakotas into Nebraska. And that's where most of those little the cooler pocket of air with that first front. And then we'll likely get a stronger front as we flip the calendar into fall next week. But over the next 7 days, most of the precipitation is going to fall from the Dakotas through Oklahoma, and some of it will likely sneak into North Texas, especially into Thursday and Friday, while much of the southeast continues to remain dry other than the central and southern tip of Florida. And there's that non-tropical feature they'll be continuing with off the coast of the Carolinas and Virginia and portions of Delaware and New Jersey. But if you go further the north than that, they're just kind of begging for rain up there across the mid-Atlantic region. Get into the Northeast, I really don't see much of anything for you guys for the next 7 days. But what we will see is a cooler shot of air as we flip the calendar. The first official, as we go into fall, which doesn't really start until next Monday afternoon. So by Tuesday, your first full day of fall, we'll likely see that cool front likely giving way for those areas across the deep south. We'll see some cooler and cooler air below average. At least you won't be seeing 90-degree temperatures for the deep south, as we head into that Tuesday and Wednesday and start, feeling a little bit more like fall by then. So guys, I appreciate you watching. Do like this video. Definitely hit the subscribe button and catch the next update where I protect you before and after the storm.